We lead the GOAT, the greatest of all time Shadow Swampert, into a regular Swampert. The opponent doesn't build up to the Earthquake, an easy no shield. We're going to throw 3 mud shots and return fire. Hashtag, I'm not baiting. The opponent lets it go, and just like that, we snipe. So, welcome back to the home of Shadow Pokemon. As you can see, it's my avatar on the screen. A very rare treat nowadays. I haven't showcased my own battles in around a month. I'm pretty much semi-retired. I was the first documented trainer in the wild to reach legend only using Shadow Pokemon. That was in Season 8. I then made it 9, 10, 11 and 12 as well. And to be honest, my motivation or lack of a challenge has put me off playing. I'm much more enjoying shoutcasting. However, I thought as we've got a Team Rocket event coming up, I'm going to have to showcase the 2 absolute God mode Pokemon in the Ultra League. You've got the GOAT on screen, Shadow Swampert, and you've got alolan Ninetales. alolan Ninetales was recently released in the last rotation, so I know a lot of you wouldn't have had the chance to remove Frustration or wouldn't have had a good one, or like me, you're probably struggling for the XLs. But if you need a reason to grind, have a look at this video, because my god is the thing an absolute monster. Despite mine being best buddied, it's actually underleveled by probably 1 power up. I think it's 24, 81 CP. But without any further ado, let's get into the commentary. And in game 1, we led Swampert into a Charmer. You will notice when I'm using this team, I'm using it in an ABB sense. I'm always pivoting into Snorlax if I don't see a Steel type in the lead, because alolan Ninetales on Powder Snow, Weather Ball and Dazzling Gleam can do absolutely nothing to Steel types. So the idea of the team is use Snorlax, get something like an Escavalier, Registeel baited out, come back in, kill it with Swampert and use Ninetales as a closer. Speaking of which, we've got our Shadow Ninetales locked on this Giratina. The opponent did land the Ancient Power. They haven't thrown a further 6 Shadow Claws. This can only be a Dragon Claw trainer. I absolutely am not going to shield that. We survive. We are going to return fire with the Weather Ball. Weather Ball gets this Giratina fairly low. The opponent looked for the Shadow Claw farm down. Ninetales far too thick. Lands the Weather Ball. Switch timer pops up. We go for the wham bam combo play. The Hydro Cannon is locked and loaded, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we lead the GOAT into Pidgeot. It takes the opponent 7 wing attacks to reach a potential Brave Bird. I fire the Hydro Cannon on 6. I'm a bit rusty. I'm not sure if we win CMP. The opponent now has the energy for a Brave Bird. I predict they're going to throw 1 extra and go for the bait. So I choose to catch it on the big thick boy, and the opponent is baiting. This time, the trap has worked. We managed to draw out the big tin can, something our Ninetales doesn't want to see. I look to CMP tie the opponent to the Focus Blast. We land the Superpower. We did CMP tie. So I'm absolutely going to let Snorlax go down. Thanks for your contribution, buddy. We can now come in to Swampert, overfarm massively, fire off the Earthquake. The opponent's already down 1 shield. I highly doubt they're going to shield for the second time. Earthquake will be returning this tin can to its Pokeball. I'm pivoting out into Ninetales. The opponent sends back out Pidgeot. You will notice I've just reached the Weather Ball, so this can only be a Feather Dance. Feather Dance is 7, then 6. Brave Bird is 7, 7. So the opponent didn't even bait me. They actually needed to throw 1 more wing attack. The opponent realizes they're in shambles and they concede the match. Moving on to the next one. Swampert into Giratina, not fantastic. I look to catch the Dragon Claw on the big thick boy. Snorlax is our soft counter. We do make the catch, and again we manage to draw out the Steel type, so the team is functioning as intended. The opponent fires off the Drill Run as soon as they get it. Drill Run not going to knock out the big thick boy. We're going to return fire with the Superpower. Superpower will do decent damage, and it should mean the opponent gets only 1 more counter. Escavalier is deep in the red. I'm contemplating mud shotting it down, but I think that is almost an impossible task. I am going to throw the Hydro Cannon just before the opponent reaches the next Drill Run. The opponent then sends back out Giratina. I try my luck at a second catch. It's 5, then 4 to each Dragon Claw. The opponent isn't that silly, not allowing me to catch the second time. They hold their energy, fire off the Ancient Power, and it's Togekiss in the back. I throw at good timing. When you're using 2 turn versus 3 turn, you need to throw 1 fast move, 4 or 7. So this time I only throw 1. Again, you see I throw it in the middle of the charm animation. Throwing at correct timing is going to allow me to mud shot down this flyer. Back out comes Giratina, and hashtag no baits on this channel. The opponent looks to call the Hydro Cannon. I land the Earthquake despite the opponent having a shield, and this from here should be a fairly easy victory. I'm just going to double shield up the Dragon Claws. They're deep in the red. Hydro Cannon is going to be enough to knock out. So one to get the shield and the second one for the knockout. And again, the team in an ABB fashion functioning very well. And we managed to pick up another dub. Moving on to the next battle. We lead Swampert into Cresselia. The whole team is kind of soft to Cresselia. I'm going to throw 6 mud shots, look to catch a grass knot on Snorlax. The opponent does hold their energy. However, they are looking for a chip and dip. They mustn't have the best response. For Snorlax, we tank the Moonblast. The opponent now sends out Talonflame. Again, you want to throw around 4 licks, 3 safer in case you get some mad lag and overtap. You don't want to throw on alignment. It's really important to never give away a free Incinerate. Each Incinerate is worth 20 energy. The opponent needed a Brave Bird to take us out. We survived the Flame Charge, get off the next Body Slam. It doesn't quite knock out, which is kind of heartbreaking. However, we're in an alright spot. The opponent needs 2 Incinerates for a Brave Bird. This can only be a Flame Charge. The opponent didn't fancy their chances of surviving the Mud Shots, and they were correct. We do resisted Mud Shot. Farm them down. I'm going to get off the Hydro Cannon for some chip damage on the Cresselia. I look to catch a Grass Knot. Again, I don't catch. I think the opponent held their energy and they do fire off a Moonblast. That does some pretty decent damage to my Ninetales. The opponent again continuing to stay in. I am going to shield up the next Moonblast. As they're staying in, I really hope they are weak. 2 Ninetales in the back. I'm going to throw this Weather Ball. Despite not being the strongest move, almost knocks out. The opponent pivots out into a Wall Rain, and this looked pretty tricky. I'm going to go straight for the Dazzling Gleam. The opponent commits a shield. They are going to need to Earthquake to take me out. The opponent farms up a whole heap of energy. I'm going to call the Icicle Sphere bait. The opponent correctly throws the Earthquake, and at this stage there's pretty much nothing we can do. Even if the opponent no shields the Earthquake, it doesn't one-shot. I'm not going to be able to Mud Shot, farm them down. The opponent farms up to the back-to-back moves. As I'm counting, I'm just going to let it go through as there's no point in wasting their time. Very well played to the opponent. Moving on to the next one. We see the Swampert mirror. However, I've got that Shadow attack bonus. The opponent doesn't even build up to an Earthquake. It's an easy no shield. As I've no shield, I'm inclining the opponent not to shield. I'm going to throw 3 Mud Shots and go for that Hail Mary Earthquake. Nearly one-shots. I pivot out into Snorlax and get the lick down for the snipe. The opponent now sends out Togekiss. Snorlax Togekiss, pretty neutral. Again, you want to throw at good time, and you can see I threw in the middle of the charm animation. The opponent shields the first Snorlax, getting pretty low now, just from the raw charm damage. However, this Body Slam spam is oppressive. The opponent lets it go. I'm going to allow this move to go through as well. Ancient Power doesn't knock me out. Can we lick down? We cannot. The opponent's on 1 HP and a Dream, so I can actually Mud Shot him down, and the charm damage won't register. The opponent's final Pokemon is Giratina, and this game is absolutely over. I'm not going to shield the first one. In case they get the boost, they do fire off the Ancient Power, and then I'm going to throw 5 and look to CMP tie to the Dragon Claw. As I've still got 2 shields, I imagine they're just going to spam out Dragon Claw after Dragon Claw. I've still got 2 shields, so I may as well shield something. We shield up the Dragon Claw. The opponent is about to get gleamed to the face, but they actually top left before I get the chance. Boo, Mr. Opponent. Moving on to the next one. Great lead. Swampert into Charizard. The opponent pivots out into Obstagoon. I go for the chip and dip, and I'm going to look to catch the move on Ninetales. Despite us being a fairy, this is actually a fairly neutral matchup. We do have to go all the way for a Gleam for any meaningful damage, but that Hydro Cannon chip is going to really help us out. The opponent fires off the neutral Cross Chop, and then going to throw 4 Powder Snows and the Weather Ball. CMP between Ninetales and Obstagoon is IV dependent, so I'm just going to get rid of them. When Charizard does return, due to their flying fire typing, all of this ice type damage will hit for neutral. Charizard isn't really known for its bulk, so these Weather Balls are really going to start adding up. The first one lands. The opponent lets me get to the second. This second one is going to get him deep in the red. The opponent actually shields and then commits to the wing attack farm down. However, I can send back out Swampert. Swampert is going to be able to absorb most of this energy. Blast Burn does hit harder than Dragon Claw. I am going to shield up the second one. It's just another Dragon Claw. The opponent then pivots out into Cresselia. I'm going to chip it with the Hydro Cannon, then look to catch the Grass Knot. So Cresselia takes 6, 6, then 5 Psycho Cuts to make the Grass Knot, and this time we make another successful catch. Snorlax Cresselia is a fairly neutral matchup. You can see Cresselia is super thick. The licks are going to start chunking. Body Slam, a pretty good move with same type attack bonus. However, Cresselia does absorb it fairly well. The opponent now going to fire off a Moonblast. Moonblast does pretty decent damage. The opponent looks to bank a Grass Knot and then pivot out into Charizard. Charizard is going to be forced to commit a shield on this Body Slam, which they do. If the opponent looks for the wing attack farm down, the big thick boy going to be able to make one more Body Slam, and this is going to be game over. One more lick takes them out. Moving on to the next one. We lead Swampert into the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death. The opponent, clearly a man of culture, as they're also running the big thick boy Shadow Snorlax as a safe switch. I look to catch a Body Slam on Ninetales. I'm unsuccessful. However, Ninetales can absorb all of this energy. Body Slam gets us fairly low. I fire off the second Weather Ball on a CMP tie to the next Body Slam. The opponent lets it go. However, this isn't the best, as Talonflame is going to get a huge Incinerate farm down. I see the Incinerate's chunking and I fire at not great timing, because I don't know if I survive the next Incinerate. I actually did survive, so that is a bit of a misplay, as I could have thrown one more Powder Snow and then I would have made the next Weather Ball. However, it is what it is. Feel free to roast me in the comments section for me having absolutely no balls in that situation. I now send out the big thick boy to absorb this energy. The opponent went for the Flame Charge. This now can be a Brave Bird. I correctly shield up the bird. The opponent lets me get the full lick down, and they've got Obstagoon in the back. I've got no idea why the opponent didn't pivot. I'm going to fire off the Superpower. Superpower draws a shield from the opponent, and I'm now going to send back out Swampert. You don't want to shield the first move in case the opponent goes for an Obstruct or gets a Night Slash boost. The opponent does fire off the Obstruct. However, all I've really got to do is get that final shield off the opponent. They actually commit it there. They allow me to get to one more Hydro Cannon. The opponent can boost their defense as many times as they like. However, it isn't going to matter. A Superpower going to knock out from this range. The opponent again fires off an Obstruct. They then commit to the counter farm down. Snorlax only one lick away from the Superpower, and it's going to be Night Night, Sleep Tight Goon. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle. Shout out this opponent repping Shadow Mewtwo. Holy crap, that's a scary looking Pokemon. I attempt to catch a Side Strike onto Snorlax. I'm unsuccessful. We're now pretty hard countered by an alolan Muck due to the dark type, and they are resisting the licks. And one of the main selling points of Snorlax is the licks do add up in neutral situations. You can see here, 2 Body Slams won't be enough to knock out. I am going to throw the Superpower, as it does do more damage. This gets Muck deep into the red, but I'm going to be unable to flip switch. This might actually be better for me. We can tank the Dark Pulse, come in with Swampert, and we will be able to commit to the Mud Shot farm down. This will allow us to get back end energy when Mewtwo returns, if that's what they come into. They actually send out a Swampert of their own. I think they're going to save 2 shields for Mewtwo, so I go for the Earthquake and then pivot out, look to catch the Hydro Cannon onto Ninetales. Ninetales can survive too. Let's see if the opponent throws them both. They do not. They send back out Mewtwo. Side Strike will be returning us to our Pokeball. The opponent is at the back-to-back, so I am going to have to try and manage my energy well here. The opponent fires the Side Strike. You can see we are ahead on energy, but we do lose charge move priority. So Swampert is going to have to throw one before Mewtwo gets to a move. The opponent isn't quite at the back-to-back. I believe they're on 8. I've got the back-to-back, so when I throw the first, that's 9. I need to outpace the other Swampert, as I've got a 1 attack, but I've got no choice but to throw. The opponent is now at 10, so if I threw the next one, I would lose. CMP back out. Come Swampert, please have a 0 attack. We lose CMP. We lose the match, but shout out that opponent. You love to lose to something like a Shadow Mewtwo. Very well played and very good energy management. Moving on to the next one. We lead Swampert into Giratina. I throw 5 Mud Shots. Look to catch the Dragon Claw on my big thick boy Snorlax, as it takes 5 Shadow Claws for the Dragon Claw. The opponent holds their energy and pivot out into Galarian Stunfisk. Snorlax doesn't have the worst matchup here. The opponent was building up energy, looking to get me to debuff my offense. I weren't having any of that nonsense. I throw the first Superpower. The opponent shields it up, wanting to maintain alignment. The second Superpower gets them fairly low. The opponent gets super greedy. They get caught in a CMP tie. This Body Slam won't knock out, but should put it into a range where I can Mud Shot down. There's no point in shielding this up as they're at the back-to-back rock slides. Down goes Snorlax. I can come back in to Swampert. The opponent looks for the Wham Bam combo play. We catch the Dragon Claw onto Ninetales. That doesn't do all that much damage as it is resisted. We return fire with the Weather Ball. Weather Ball going to do around 50% of Giratina's HP. This could be an ancient power. I don't need to shield. I'm hoping they don't get a boost. We don't see a boost. The opponent throws on 4. I believe this should have been a Dragon Claw, but I obviously didn't count for all that energy they farmed up before switching out. We now see a boost, so I send out Swampert. Hydro Cannon will be knocking out despite them getting a boost. The opponent's final Pokemon is Registeel. You can't pause on a one-turn move. The opponent thinks they're smart, making a Savage catch on Galarian Stunfisk. I've still got 2 shields. So trainer, you want to see some big cojones? I absolutely dare you to send the Focus Blast. I thought not. The opponent goes for the Zap Cannon, and now this is going to be game over. Earthquake near one-shots. The opponent finally gives up. Nice catch, trainer, but not a very good bait, if I do say so myself. Don't masturbate. Every time you masturbate, a cat dies. Moving on to the next one, we see Melmetal in the lead. The opponent builds up some energy. Send out Swampert. We YOLO the Earthquake. We're going to look to catch the move onto Ninetales. Ninetales absolutely dead weight against that Melmetal, so I'm just going to absolutely sack it. We will be able to tank all of this energy, commit to the Powder Snow farm down, and we're going to be on minimal HP, not allowing Melmetal any farm. I'm on about 3 or 4 HP, so I am going to YOLO the Weather Ball at whatever they bring in. I imagine it is Melmetal, which it is, and that did absolutely nothing, but all chip damage is chip damage. This puts Melmetal a lot closer to Hydro Cannon range. I send back out Swampert. The opponent can throw the Superpower. It doesn't get same type attack bonus. The opponent continues to stay in. We fire off the Hydro Cannon on a CMP tie. Is the opponent willing to shield this Melmetal? No, they're not. They've got a Charmer in the back. I'm going to chip them with a Hydro Cannon, pivot into Snorlax, and this should be pretty simple from here. We've both still got 2 shields remaining. The opponent can pretty much throw whatever they like. They actually just give up. GG's. Moving on to the next battle, we see Talonflame in the lead. The opponent looks to catch a Hydro Cannon on Venusaur. The opponent doesn't make a catch, and we now send out Ninetales. The opponent builds up to 7, which could be a Sludge Bomb. The opponent isn't baiting. They full send it. We return fire with the Weather Ball. Weather Ball, not enough to knock out, and it gives us a nice chunky farm down. When Talonflame does return, we're going to throw 2 Powder Snows and the Weather Ball. Let's see if I can actually continue to throw at a good time and not panic, looking at my health absolutely evaporated in front of me. The opponent chooses to throw the Flame Charge, which actually is better for me. We can now come into Swampert, throw 2 Mud Shots and the Hydro Cannon. So you want to throw it 2 or 7 if you really need to. 4's alright against Talonflame as well. The opponent continues to stay in. Swampert fires off the Hydro Cannon. The opponent is now all shields down. They again look to make a catch. They don't make a catch. The only thing they catch is an Earthquake to the face. Swampert now deep in the red. And just for good measure, I'll show the opponent how to make a catch. We catch the Hydro Cannon on the big thick boy. The opponent needs the Earthquake to take us out. This is just a Hydro Cannon. That isn't going to get the job done. Snorlax will be able to lick down. The opponent is going to be forced to dump energy as we got the Body Slam locked and loaded. I could have shielded, to be honest, but I may as well let the GOAT do GOAT things. This is a Flame Charge. As it's boosted, it probably would knock out. We're just going to throw the BM Earthquake because I absolutely hate Talonflame. It's one of my least favourite Pokemon in the world, and Earthquake is going to be all she wrote. So those battles were from last night. I did play a quick set this morning as well before I streamed on Discord. A link to my Discord is going to be down below if you want to see some of the live battles. Make sure you go check it out. This is only 2 battles. I thought they were pretty fun. We see Swampert into Trevenant, the absolute nightmare lead. The opponent pivots out into Regirock. Regirock tanks the Superpower. However, they do need to throw a charge move or Snorlax will make Superpower number 2. Superpower is going to be knocking out from this range. The opponent farms up to 100, firing off the Stone Edge. As we're 2-stage debuffed on defense, Stone Edge is going to return us to our Pokeball. I can now come back in to Swampert. If the opponent is running Focus Blast, it is going to hurt, but I don't need to shield, as my Shadow Swampert is going to get one shot by a Seed Bomb. We are pretty much in Stone Edge range now, so I am going to fire off the Hydro Cannon and let's see if 2-shield Ninetales can sweep. I'm spamming out into Ninetales, this Charizard. In the back, the opponent farms up to a Blast Burn. You can tell by my energy, they've thrown 7 wing attacks. As always, I dare the opponent to Blast Burn me. The opponent goes for the Dragon Claw. Hashtag Shadow Pokemon always get baited. The opponent thought we had to shield, but I absolutely did not. These weather walls are really going to start adding up. The opponent tanks the second. This is now game over. This again is a Dragon Claw. I'm still going to hang on to them 2 shields. The win con for the opponent now is the fast move beatdown. They realise the game's over and they concede the match. Moving on to the next battle. We see the Swampert mirror. They don't build up to the Earthquake, so we can allow this move to go down. Again, I'm going to throw 3 mud shots. Go for the Earthquake, but the question is, does the opponent respect the damage? They actually shield, which is pretty bad for me. That's a lot of energy to get chucked at a shield, and as if that wasn't bad, the opponent now sends out Obstagoon. These licks are triple resisted. However, we can hit for double super effective with the superpower. The opponent needs to cross chop to take me out. We call the Night Slash. Night Slash doesn't knock out. We return fire with the superpower. Superpower nearly one-shots. I can now farm down with either Pokemon. Obstagoon gets Mud Shot down. I was expecting Swampert with a Hydro Cannon to return, so I actually don't throw the 1 Mud Shot, which is the optimal play. Clefable chooses to shield it up, and now to prevent any catch, I'm going to throw in the middle of the charm animations. It's just going to be straight Weather Ball spam from here. The opponent continuing to stay in. This Weather Ball isn't going to knock out, but is going to get them fairly low. Back out comes Swampert. We've still got 2 shields. So I guess it is time to start using them. Swampert already at the second Hydro Cannon. We are going to shield this up. It's going to be time to land the first Gleam of the video. It's going to be Hi Swampert, Bye Swampert. Clefable is 1 charm away from the next move, so I throw 1 charm and catch. I don't really think that was needed. We could have Mud Shot down, but it's all about the entertainment. Ninetales, Powder Snow down, and we managed to take another dub. So those were the battles with, in my opinion, the 2 strongest Shadow Pokemon in the entire Ultra League. When the Team Rocket event does drop on the 21st of March, if you haven't built a Swampert and you've got a Mudkip with Frustration, make sure you get rid of it. To be honest, I don't even think with Swampert IVs are that important, as stuff like Cresselia with Grass Knot and Trevenant with Seed Bomb is going to one-shot you, whether you're a rank 1 or using something really random like a 15-0-0. Just get it built because it is an absolute monster. And then we get on to Ninetales. I think it's fantastic on Powder Snow. I haven't tried it out on Charm, but I know some of my friends have, and they are absolutely clapping cheeks of it. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on the channel, a link to my battle submission form is down below. I am starting to battle again, so if you've got any Shadow Pokemon you want to see, post it in the comment section down below, and I'll put it to work and make a video. Just like to say thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.